Within this enclosure will be a data center technician who will be sitting there, and he will be in charge of monitoring some systems and also filling out access request cards and printing out the cards, you know, because we're just going to a system where you will have a badge with the actual picture on it. It says which company you work for and so on.
And is that going to be 24 hours a day? You're going to have somebody here?
Yes.
So why would you need the biometrics if you're going to have somebody here?
The biometrics is going to be set up so customers can access their equipment without having to bring the data center technician out into the data center every single time a customer comes in. Some people leave their cards in their car. They don't bring them inside every single night.
Mm-hmm.
And so this way, in case someone has broken into the car, they don't, you know, that person will not have access because your thumbprint isn't going to match. So that's the biometrics is just an added layer of security to make sure that unauthorized people haven't accessed that person's card.
Assume, or I understand from Sharon, that you're sitting on the fiber of several carriers.
Yes.
Which carriers are they? You mind if I ask?
We have AboveNet, Level 3, Quest. They haven't terminated theirs yet. Spectrum Networks, and Base and Cogent. And basically, we are a carrier-neutral company, where if a customer comes in and says, we want Verizon, we want ELI, we want this person, we'll go ahead and bring them in for the customer. Because we try to make it easy for the customer to do business. This room is going to be turned into a conference room. It's going to be looking out onto the data center, and so they'll be able to see rows and rows of cabinets. And
Looks like you have data extensions right here. What's that tie into?
that ties into the patch panels that are right over there, and so that goes to our network. Provide crash cards to everyone. Mouse, keyboard, the gender bender, just in case the person has the old PS2 style on there, because some people do bring in old servers. These are available 24/7, 7 days a week.
What's a crash card for?
This is just in case a server goes down and say a file system needs to be remounted. This you can go ahead and plug in, so you have a monitor, your keyboard, and mouse, and so you can go in there and remount a file system, change passwords, just in case you added memory, but for some reason the server is not coming up. You can actually log into it and see what's going on inside of your server, instead of having to sit there with a laptop, on your knees or something.
So they can come in here and use that crash card for programming their servers.
Yeah, since it's on wheels, they can wheel it right out to their equipment and just plug it in.
How can they access their servers? You got the crash card, they can be here physically. Can they access their servers remotely?
Yes.
And I would guess a point-to-point would be one way.
Yes. It depends on how the person has their servers configured. But generally, if you have a Ethernet connection going into the back of the server, you should be able to log into that server remotely. If they don't, they can have a console server, like a Cisco console server, which has the flat silver satin ribbon cable that comes off of the back of it, and you can go into it that way.
Can I ask for clarification?
Yes.
Okay, I have an office in Bonnie Lake, Washington. I need to update my server. Can I do it from there?
Yes.
What ways?
Yes. Well, because you have, depending on how you have connectivity, if you have connectivity through us, you have basically a route.
So I can get on the internet and sign in with you and then remotely configure my server?
You don't have to even sign in through us. You just type in the IP address of that computer, and it will bring you right into that computer.
Through the internet?
Through the internet.
Okay.
And we also have provide IP addressable power strips. So, you plug the power strip into your switch or router, and when, say you need to power cycle it and you don't want to call us up at 2 a.m. for some reason, you can just go ahead and log into the power strip and say, okay, I want to turn off port 18 on the power strip, and it will take the server down, and then you turn port 18 back on the power strip, and it brings it right back up.
So each server is plugged into a different
Each server is plugged into a different plug on the power strip.
And you can manipulate turning it off
Yes.
based on which plug.
Do you have companies that have MPLS connections to their servers?
Yes.
And point-to-point, and then they can also use the remote access that we talked about earlier.
Yes.
And then the other option would be to come down here and do it physically here. With your crash cart, for example, or with a
Yes.
laptop.
Yes, or you can call into our network operations center, and the network operations center will call my technician. They'll create a ticket, and the technician can go out and plug this in, and you can sit there and go, okay, you know, here's the password, here's your username, here's the password. Can you please log into my server and see what's going on? Or can you at least just even plug in the monitor so we can see what's going on? Because that, in a lot of cases, will tell you what's going on with the server, just plugging the monitor in. And so we can be your eyes, ears, and hands on site, so you don't actually have to get up here, you know, at 3 in the morning and drive down. And so
I think Sharon mentioned earlier that for simple tasks like rebooting, turning on the server, those kind of things, you might do that for free. But is there an hourly rate if extensive work is needed?
Yes. That is covered under the remote hands charges, and Sharon probably
It's from
knows
$100
the-
to $150 an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And do you have somebody on premise at all times?
Is on site all 24 hours.
So there's emergency maintenance type
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
facilities as well.
Even like during the snowstorm that we just had, my technician couldn't make it in, so I was here for 24 hours. So someone is always on site.
So for somebody who needs, who has a server on premise and is paying a large amount of money for like a DS3 or Fasti, Gigi, something like that, they could actually have the option of having far less expensive bandwidth at this co-location facility and then program their server remotely, even if they're 100 miles away or 1,000 miles away.
Yes.
And they could
Yes,
save a
we
lot
can.
of money on bandwidth that way.